Hi, wanted to share with you that I finished the mural finally that I'm painting across my kitchen cabinets, or I painted. It's done. I'm going to share it with you today. I'll give you a little background. It was actually, I began painting this mural right after I got back from a trip from Italy. And we had gone into the Sistine Chapel. It was great. We got these e-tickets. And if you ever go do this, you got to use the e-tickets because maybe it's still the same. This was a while ago now. We went right by the line and got right in and saw the ceiling and had time to spend there. It was really fantastic. Anyways, it's difficult being Jewish, going into a place like that because the philosophy is so powerful, it's so deep, and it's just in everything you see. The whole place is designed around this philosophy. In this case, Catholic philosophy, and but there's some amazing masterpieces there on the ceiling. And so, as an artist, it was just wonderful to see. And I was really inspired when I came back by that and by other murals I'd seen around Italy. And since I hadn't been making art for a few years after I actually moved to Israel, I decided that I needed to start again. And I didn't have a studio at the time. So I used my kitchen cabinets, and that's where I started painting. And the ideas just started spilling out. And I just sat down one day and started drawing. And, unfortunately, I was about half done and I got a studio and I started to make art in the studio. And this project just sort of fell into decrepitude and is that a word? Decrepitude, yes. And so finally, I finished it, and I'm going to take you on a little tour. So stay with me. I'm going to start here. This is the first panel that I began to paint, and I call it Echoes of Mashiach, because the idea is that in our midst, there is a volcano erupting, and we all seem kind of clueless to this volcano, this immense mountain erupting fire and smoke in our midst. And we're just going about our lives, sailing, living, doing the things we do. And yet, in the middle of it all is this echo of Mashiach, or echoes of Mashiach. And it spits out of the volcano at the top into smoke and ash, which then moves across the kitchen. And I'm going to slowly take you on a journey through my head, across the chasm of the refrigerator to the first panel, or the second panel, which is, let me back up, which is essentially a couple of different ideas coming together. And what we have here is on the left side, a sort of tohu vohu place where there's chaos, where there's nothing is really formed. Maybe just the beginnings of things are being formed. And you can see up at the top corner right here, the ashes coming in from the panel where the Echoes of Mashiach volcano was going off. And below that, right down here, you see what I call the Crying Leviathan. And there's a story that comes from the Chumash. The word Tananim, which means giant sea monsters, it's often translated as monsters or dinosaurs. Sea creatures. It's actually, or alligators, we call alligators today that. It's actually a giant sea creature. There were two of them. And we understand that one was removed from the world because they were so large. They were fish, and they were so large that their offspring would have swamped the earth had they been able to procreate. So one was removed, and the one that remains is still in the sea, but it is unhappy because it lost its mate. I'm trying to zoom in here. And so it's the Crying Leviathan. This is the first time I did a Crying Leviathan, and I've done it a few times since in different pieces. And the Leviathan is right next to the shore of a plateau. And this plateau is Gan Eden. Now, Gan Eden is a place that is essentially a separate place. It's separated between the inside and the outside. So in Hebrew, the word Gan can be both garden and it can be enclosed area. And so this is the Gan Eden. This is an enclosed area. It's a kind of plateau where it's a very lush plateau because there's a river flowing into it. We have this Nahar Eden, this river Eden flowing into it, and it's coming from a different plane. You could say plane of existence, and it's landing in this sort of plane that's between our world and a different world. And in this world, these four rivers branch off, and they all water this garden and make it quite lush. And you can see here all of the creatures have a soul. There's animals and vegetables, and everything is living, everything is growing. And yet over here we have Adam and Eve, the original human beings, on a ship heading into nowhere. And of course, this is the tree of knowledge with the serpent dangling around it and sending them off on their journey down this wormhole to reach the plane we exist at. And here's the tree of life, which was never even touched. Would have been everlasting life had they gotten there first. Oh well, yet here we are. So this is Gan Eden. On the other side of Gan Eden, we have Gehenom. So I've moved now over to the next panels, which are adjacent to the Gan Eden panel. I'll back up a sec. You see the Crying Leviathan, you see Gan Eden, and next to that is Gehenom. And Gehenom is a place which is, I guess in Judeo-Christian theology, it is purgatory, okay? In Jewish understanding, purgatory is a place that all people go to. It's like a cosmic soul washing machine where we remove all of the stains that we've acquired while we're on this plane of existence, and in order to move into the next plane, free of all of that kind of dirt or grime that we collected along the way, which is almost impossible not to in our world, I'd say. And anyways, this is what I call Gehenom. And you can see in the walls there are caves with little stairways and places where creatures may lurk. And at one time, these caves were tunnels that led all the way across my kitchen, under my kitchen floor, and ended on the other side of the kitchen. But I'm not gonna go there yet. I'm gonna move to the right just a little bit more, because this valley is also considered the valley where Ge, it's called in Hebrew, Ge ben Hinnom, so the son of Hinnom, and it is actually to the south, basically to the south of Jerusalem, the old city of Jerusalem. And so I've painted that in here. And you can see in Jerusalem, there's the Silwan pool at the bottom. And here is Yizkiyahu's, or Hezekiah's tunnel. They're all mixed in together. A tunnel that they dug during the Assyrian attack on Jerusalem. And above you can see there's fruiting trees, and all the 7 species are in there. And we have above that a city, the city of Jerusalem. Over to the side, we have this is the other valley, the Kidron Valley on the other side, which separates between Jerusalem and Har Zetim, or the Mount of Olives, which is an ancient graveyard. If you've been to Jerusalem, I'm sure you've seen it. And this bridge was there for the priests, the Kohanim, to get across without having to become impure from the kind of death energy rising from below. And above that, of course, we have the Holy Temple, the Beit HaMikdash. There's some pyres here burning to tell the time. They used to be able to tell what time of year it was. Rosh Hashanah is 2 days, for instance, because we rely on man to tell us when the new year arrives based on the celestial bodies and the moon. And here's the sun above, and above that we have all of the mazalot. So Aryeh is there. I think I can't pick them all out. You might be able to see them. If I back up, all the mazalot are here in the upper panel. So there's one more panel left in the kitchen. And the reason that there's only one more panel left in the kitchen is because I just had to finish it. And so I ended up not finishing the whole thing except for this one panel, which is a special panel indeed. And I'm going to take you across the kitchen now. The reason these tunnels do no longer arrive on the other side is because I ended up having to paint out the rest. So this used to be the Mount of Olives, and there were tunnels here. And this used to be, this is a chair I'm just sitting on. This used to be the Kinneret, the Galil, all the way across. And there was more on the other side of this panel, but I'm going to show you this panel. Now this panel is the splitting of the sea. There's a little bit of sun from glare from the sun, but I'll try to get in closer. This is the splitting of the sea. So this is Moshe on a surfboard up above with his staff, opening the sea for the Israelites to move through at the bottom. And it's very far down, but you can see over to the right, this is a little pharaoh in a sports car flying off the cliff from a road. And this is Moshe on a surfboard right there. So, and the good part is this is the dishwasher panel. So if I ever, this was my idea. If I ever wanted to have my kids do the dishes, I'd tell them to go split the sea. And so they could actually open it up and split the sea. Ha ha ha. All right.